Garman founded Kimray because he didn't want to work under the conditions that the company he was working for had created. They were growing and making decisions that he thought were inconsistent with good principles for business and success, and decided to leave them. And he initially bought another man's patent for a product because he was under a contract that he couldn't compete in the same industry with the people he had just left, and so decided to make another man's product as an initial product offering, and signed an agreement with this man to license his patent, and started to work on developing the product for manufacture, and found out that it didn't work, that the patent was actually worthless. And yet, because Garman had signed an agreement with the man and given him his word, Kimray, which at that point was Garman, paid that man every dime that was agreed to under that contract for the entire time they were manufacturing the product, even though Garman had to re-engineer the product to make it work. That man came to my grandfather one time, several years into their relationship, and told him that Garman was the only person who had ever held to his end of the bargain. When you hear stories like that, when you grow up around that being the way business was done, you get lots of opportunity to see the result of that level of virtue in a man. Garman's word was as good as gold. If Garman said he was going to do something, it got done. If Garman said he would honor an agreement, you didn't have to think twice about it. And in business, that has to be the most important thing that you can develop. I don't see how you can operate without that level of trust. 60 years down the road, because of Garman's commitment to those types of characteristics and virtues, we have the ability to go to our vendors and negotiate better pricing for our raw materials, because they know we'll pay our bills, because they know that if we say we're going to buy X amount of material in the coming year, that we'll buy the material, that we'll commit to the things that we're going to do. We can go to our customers and we can say, we're going to engineer a solution for you, and we'll do it in the best that it can be done, and we'll do it at a price that is reasonable, and they trust that we will do that because we've done it over and over and over again. So it gives us almost an infinite advantage in the marketplace against companies that have demonstrated that when push comes to shove, they'll take a dollar rather than take care of their customer, and that when things get difficult, that they push that down the road and put that on their employees or put that on their customers. When you say Kimray in the field, that carries with it all the history that the company has, a lot of which was Garman. In the field, engineering, solving problems. Early on, Garman went out in the field and put the product in himself, and my father spent years in the field. I spent my years in the field. And so when we get ready to make a decision, we weigh it against what it would cost us if we were to lose that history, if we were to lose that reputation. And there's almost nothing that would be worth losing that reputation. No amount of money in the short term, no amount of making something easier, because unfortunately the right decision is sometimes the hard decision. The right road is sometimes the more difficult road. But nothing would be worth losing that reputation, because we couldn't ever rebuild it. If I was to sully that name, if I, through my actions as president of Kimray, were to change the reputation of Kimray, I would not see that recovered in my lifetime. It would be on the next generation or another generation past me. That changes your attitude. It creates a sense of responsibility that you can't escape, and I think that's a good thing, because there's a lot of pressure. There are a lot of things pushing on you each and every day, and we all have to make many, many decisions. But in the back of my mind, big or small, no matter what the decision is ultimately, will this maintain or improve the name of Kimray, and thereby my grandfather's name, his memory, his legacy, or does it have a potential to damage? And if it has a potential to damage, then we're not going to do it, even if it costs us, even if we lose a lose business or lose a sale. because ultimately that's something that I can't regain if I lose.